Hello, world. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ plus planet where each and every one of us belongs to one or two letters in the 10 letter sexual alphabet LGBTQIAAP. And today we are going to discuss the one of the arms of power, and that is the judiciary and the constitution. Now, I had a eureka moment when I was doing one of the videos for the theological channel Curing Science, Theology, Philosophy and Spirituality, QSTPS, and it was a great eureka moment, academic orgasm. It was an academic coming. and this was the orgasm or the eureka moment, the light bulb coming on. This was the eureka moment. It was that judges of a court, of every court in the world, should all adhere to the Constitution. Same to politicians, because they are part of the arms of power. The three arms of power: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. It was a eureka moment. Reason being, most systems of government are not constitutional, or some of them are not constitutional. And that's what we want to study. What is a constitution, and what forms of government use a constitution? And if your government, the government you're in, I'm not talking to the government, I'm talking to citizens. So if you are a citizen and you're in a government that is constitutional, you need to know what is the rights it gives you. And that's what we want to study today. Now, our favorite site for knowledge, I like Wikipedia, and thankfully they have what is called a footnote. There you are. That's the power of Wikipedia. I used to write articles, I used to blog, but I never used to write footnotes. And to me, it's an error, because you can write anything. Yes, you can even write lies. And there's no footnote. You can say that this person he was killed by so and so, and then it's written. So there is no footnote on what you've said, and somebody goes and reports to a person that this person was killed. So they ask themselves, who killed the person, and where is the source of your information? Then they mention your blog, and then your blog has no footnote. So what happens is you are arrested because you said something that was spread so fast and it didn't make sense, or it was a lie. So this is what's going to happen to the blogging world. I've already discussed it in the other video we've just put up now. The internet world is changing. People are now, there's going to be internet police, and you will not just write anything. Look what's happened already in Europe. Europe has already passed a law, and that's the power of EU. EU, when they pass a law, it covers the whole of EU. And they have just passed a law, copyright law, that is putting the tech giants under pressure, because they allow certain articles, they make people use certain articles for their, without paying any royalties to the writers of those articles, and in their view, that is stealing, that is infringement of copyright. So it was a very sad law to be passed. Yes, because I stand with tech giants. The internet was always an open space, but because it is very big and very influential, thanks to fake news, now the governments of the world have come up and said, no, we're tired, especially EU, and they've said, no way, no more of copyright infringement, and we are going to deal with it, and we'll deal with the tech giants. I don't want to go into that topic now because it will we will lose track of what we want to discuss. So anyway, so that's what's happening in the blog world, and it's because of this thing called a footnote. Because now whenever you write something, I think what's going to happen, people will become more professional in blogging, especially blogging, not vlogging. Vlogging, you can be free, but even in vlogging, they are going to, like even what I'm doing. You see, I left the videos of where you just see my shiny head. Now I'm doing videos that there's a document and I'm talking. Yeah, so that is now, you see, I have sources. I'm not talking from my head. Like what I'm now doing is explanation of a source. Yes. So nobody can claim that I'm just blabbering hot air. And even if I blabber hot air, you are free to blabber hot air. But be careful. If you say something that someone deems to be very offensive as per the law, then they can come for you and deal with you. But on certain things, like if you're discussing the amendment of a law or the removal of the law, like the anti-LGBTQ laws in very many countries, please talk about them. The reason why I'm saying this and why the tech giants maybe are fighting the EU government, there is a dangerous concept of dictatorship coming from many governments. See, governments, every government has the temptation to be a dictator. Every government in the world has the temptation to be Nazi. It's not Nazi, but it has the temptation to be a Nazi government. Why? Because the Nazis were a government. They were in government, they had a system. So every government has a temptation, has very many temptations. It has potentials to be something. A government can even have potential to be fascist. A fascist government is a government that kills people. Yes. Do you know the government can wake up and decide to kill its citizens? They have guns. You're joking with government. They have guns and they have the law. They have everything. You gave it to them in the election. So, what does that mean? They can come and shoot you and go scot-free. You see, study the Nazi government. It was the most vicious because they knew the secret. It was to get power. Once you get power, governmental power, you can do whatever you want. And that's what they did. They killed people according to their law. You see? So that's why I allow freedom of expression. It's good for people to discuss. Even if you speak against the government, you should be given that space to talk against the government when you see certain anomalies in the government system. You're free. You're a citizen. And that's why we're discussing the Constitution today. So a constitution is an aggregate of fundamental principles or established precedents that constitute the legal basis of a polity, organization, or a type of entity and commonly determine how that entity is to be governed. So the constitution is just a principles that determine how an entity is to be governed, is to be ruled, is to be driven, is to be controlled, is to be protected. That is what the constitution is. Now, this constitution can be written into a single document or a set of legal documents, or it can be a codified constitution. Like UK doesn't have a written constitution, a single document, but it has very many fundamental acts of the parliament, all courts or treaties, that when you put them together, that makes up the constitution. So UK has a very nice system. I prefer that one. Yeah, I prefer making your laws part of your constitution, not having a single document. But the beauty of a single document, and that's what UK doesn't have, and that's where countries that have single documents are better, is it singles out the constitution away from the other laws. You see, if you have an act like what UK has, they have so many acts, the tendency of contradiction is very high. So because you can make a law and then this other law contradicts that law, now who is bad? Is it the law that contradicts the other law, or the law that has been contradicted? You see, so there's a lot of in such a scenario, there are very many legal battles. But when you have a single document that's called a constitution, then you have very many laws. When you go to court and you find one law that is bad, or you find one law that is bad in law, you go to the court and say, this law contravenes the constitution, because the constitution says it is the supreme law, and any law that contradicts it will be declared null and void. It's as simple as that. So when you get a law that contradicts the constitution, all you do is just go to the court and you say, my lord, this law contradicts the constitution in these ways. And the court says, yes, we agree with you, it does. And immediately that law is declared null and void. That's what we are doing with anti-homosexuality laws all over the world. They are all unconstitutional. All. There is no anti-homosexuality law that is constitutional. All are unconstitutional. Reason being, homosexuals are human beings, be they male homosexuals or female homosexuals. They are all human beings. And if they are human beings, their rights are given to them from beginning. Freedom, human rights. You see, when people hear human rights, they think you are talking about gays. It's not just gays, it's everybody. You're a human. Yes, you're a human being. And I think the reason why most homophobes, because they are homophobes or they don't involve in the LGBTQ life or homosexuality, they are law abiding. You don't catch them. Do you know the majority of our population is in the civilian space? It's not in the state space called prison. When you're in prison, you're under state care. So majority of countries, majority of the people are not in jail. What does that mean? The country is mostly law abiding. That's what you need to understand. Like in America, the sad thing, they should do a census again and find out how many black American men are in prison and how many are not in prison. If if there's more black American men in prison, then that's a serious crisis. It's a serious crisis. But if it is that there are more black American men in the civilian space than in the state space called prison, then there is no crisis in America. And yes, because the majority are not in jail. You see, it's a crisis when, can you imagine a country whereby 90% of the people are in jail? What is that? That is serious. That only 10% of the civilians are working. That's crisis. The economy is gone. So that's what you need to understand. Look at Netherlands. 99% of the population, 100% is not in prison. Do you see how rich that economy is going to become? Everybody is good. Everybody is law abiding. Remember what I said last time. There's nothing like good or bad in law. Everybody is law abiding. That's what it is. Yes, it's not, there's nothing like, oh, he's a good person. No, that is very basic morality. It doesn't hold water. People are law abiding or not law abiding. So that's what I understand. Yes, it's people who don't understand the difference between good and bad. They don't understand Einstein. Einstein brought the theory of relativity. The theory of relativity means that one thing has different positions based from where you are standing. When a train is going forward and you are in another train going backward, I mean the train is going to the right and you're in another train that's going to the left, for you that train going to the right is decelerating. But for the person on the train, he's accelerating, he's going forward, and you're going backward. You're going back to where he was from, and then the other one is going you're going forward, and your forward is his backward, and his backward is your forward. So what does that mean? Your good is my bad, and my bad is your good. One man's meat is another man's poison. Yes, some people like beer, others hate it. So what does this mean? Those who like beer, call beer good, and those who hate beer call beer bad. Yes, I remember myself when I was young. I was very anti-beer, and I said beer is bad for you. You know, Guinness used to have a nice advert that Guinness is good for you. Then I responded, no, Guinness is bad for you. And years later, I drink Guinness. I drink Guinness. Yes, so it's very funny how positions change. You see? Now is Guinness bad? No, it's good. It's good. So that's what people need to understand about morality. There is what you call moral relativity. And thankfully, many humans are reaching that level. Like you see what has happened in the multicultural space we've been in, and people have been threatened. Do you know why people are threatened now by multiculturalism? They have studied those cultures. Then what has happened is now people are feeling like, that culture is so bad, we don't need it. So what has happened? It's a cycle. We've gone to Islamophobia, and this time it is informed Islamophobia, it is informed homophobia, it is informed Christophobia. That's what has happened. People are now informed anti-abortionists, you know. people now, because of their preconception of what they think about life and sex, they now get information that suits them, and then now they attack that culture. So that's what happened with multiculturalism. You see, multiculturalism was whereby, who are you? Oh, I'm a Scandinavian. Oh, I'm from Australia. Oh, I'm from Africa. What do you guys do? What do you believe in? Oh, I believe in that the gods are insects. Oh, but I believe that God is in heaven. No, I believe that there's so many gods. Okay. And what else do you believe about abortion? Oh, abortion is right. It's okay. Well, abortion is murder, the other one says. Then the other says, oh, no, abortion should be done, but in certain cases. So everybody exchanged their cultures. Then they said exchanging of the cultures didn't mean destruction of the cultures. You are just stating your position. Then now what has happened is people are now fighting. They are using those different cultural positions to get power. Now that's where war has begun, like in Europe. You see? So Europe realized that they have a demographic battle with Muslims who have a different culture. And so if they don't deal with that, the Muslims will take over, and the cultural color of a country will be more Islamic than non-Islamic. So because of that, the governments rose up and said, no way, we're controlling immigration because these guys are becoming many and they have a different culture. So you see, that's what has happened to the multicultural outfit. It's not that multiculturalism is dead. It's that it's now being controlled because of demographic power. Yes, do you know the whole of Saudi Arabia can go and live in Germany? And if it all goes there, yes, an earthquake can happen and a whole country is destroyed. Where will they stay? You'll take them to a country, and when you take them to another country, that country becomes Saudi Arabia in Germany. So that's what you need to understand about multiculturalism and what's happening all over the world. Look at Trump. Why does he want to build a wall? It's demographics, stupid. As Bill Clinton said, it's the economy, stupid. No, now it's demographics. It's demographics, because if the wall is not built, the Mexicans are going to come into America, and in 30 years to come, America will be Mexican. Yes, it will become Mexican. It will be Hispanic. They will have Hispanic presidents. It will be the end of the white power. You know? So that's what you need to understand. Governments today are making demographic decisions. I was also seeing a very sad story. Uganda is now wants refugees to leave the country. And I was like, what? Uganda was a one of the most kindest countries in the world. It was Uganda. And now they don't want Burundians, they don't want Rwandans. It's a dangerous wave of nationalism in that country. And we can issue a warning. If the things go on like that, there will be a bloody war there. Yes, nationalism is dangerous. And it's a wave all over the world. It's sad. It's very sad that the world is now in that mood. I don't know why the world became nationalistic. I think it became nationalistic because the world was becoming multicultural. And so this is a counter reformation. You see, whenever there's change, there's always a counter. There's a counter to that change. So the multiculturalism came, especially with Obama wave. It came with Obama brought a lot of multiculturalism. And now that he's not in power, because of, even before he was in power, there was the struggle with the monoculturalists, the nationalists. So they fought, and that's why the election of 2016 went that way. Even though the popular vote was multicultural, you see, they even attacked the popular vote and they said it's immigrants who voted. Yeah. So that's what you need to understand. And these guys were like, you know. So now we're in this era of Trump is a nationalistic era, is a monocultural era. So if you're a country and you're not very strong multiculturally, you don't have enough multicultural data, you're doomed. You'll be swallowed by the nationalistic wave. Now look at South Africa. Xenophobia, you see, again has reared its ugly head. Reason? Nationalism. Nationalism comes about when the economy is not doing well and people are suffering, and then when people realize foreigners are living well, they now start saying, okay, this is what it is now, we're going to show them. So they now deal with foreigners, which is wrong, is sad. And my cure for nationalism is having programs that support the nationals. Yes, I support welfare programs and I support universal basic income. Yes, I know there's some billionaire who has told of Ocasio, I forget her name, forgive me, Ocasio, whatever, in New York, that she advocates for wealth redistribution. But I kind of disagree with the billionaire, because I think she knows what's happening on the ground, and she's with the poor. So, and she knows what the poor can do. And what you're supposed to do as a government official or government is to support the poor. You're not making the poor very rich. You're just making them live a modest life that is bearable. Because if the economy becomes very hard, the hardest hit are the very poor. And that one is dangerous, because they can cause a lot of havoc in the country. Of course, now, these days, people have very mighty guns, so causing havoc is hard. But, I mean, what's the use of having a government whereby the poor don't like you? I mean, personally, I can't live like that. No. You want to make sure your people live well. Yeah. So I can understand her position. And I don't call it wealth redistribution. I call it wealth economic empowerment. The government prints money solely for economic or income empowerment, where you give everybody money, even those who are working, give them extra money. Yes, like Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang is saying $1,000 should be given to everybody. Everybody, whether you're working or not. Now tell me whether that is mad mathematics. It's brilliant, because you are now empowered. You're a poor person and you have $1,000. There is no way, nobody wastes money. Understand that concept, principle of money. Nobody wastes money. All money in the world goes into the economy, including savings. Do you know savings? The bank uses savings to dish out loans. If nobody was saving money in the bank cannot loan. It values the savings of people so that it can loan. That's why banks that loan out money and people don't pay back those loans, they collapse. Because when the savers come to ask for their money, the bank says we don't have it because we dished it out to people and they have not paid it back. So that bank collapses. As simple as that. Yes. So you need to understand it, that UBI, Universal Basic Income, to me will solve economic problems, especially for the nationals who tend not to do very well in the economy because they are nationals. A foreigner can do well in an economy because he has very many sources. He has two networks, his home network and the new network he has made. So he's more advantageous. They suffer less. But the local can suffer because he only has one network, and that is a local one. So if it's not working, he's done. So to help those people, the government should have programs for them. That's my take. All right. Enough of economics. Now let's finish this. We're not going to do deep teaching. I just wanted us to focus on what a constitution is and how it protects a country and how it spells out a country's laws, and the importance of judges, appointing judges that swear to the constitution. That's what you need to understand. And this eureka moment came when what is happening in Brunei. You see, Brunei, they want to kill gays by stoning. That is madness. But there's something you don't know about Brunei. It is a monarchy. It's not a constitutional government. And that is sad. Because a constitutional system cannot kill somebody because of their identity. Because a homosexual is a human being. And all constitutions in the world have a Bill of Rights which belong to everybody, including gays. So, in most, but not all modern states, the Constitution has supremacy over ordinary statutory law. In such states, when an official act is unconstitutional, it's not a power granted to the government by the Constitution. That act is null and void. That's what I said. If there's a law that is contradicting the Constitution, it is called unconstitutional. So you must understand, there are laws in every country that are unconstitutional. That's what you need to know. So you battle those laws in the court and then you get your freedom. That's what's going to happen to the LGBT community all over the world. As long as they have a constitution, there is no sober court that cannot give LGBTQ persons their rights. No, there is none. Especially if it's a court that has a constitution. Because all constitutions in the world have Bill of Rights which recognize human rights. So they recognize gay people. As simple as that. I don't need to say much. So let me just add a few things to show you how constitutions came about. Of course, the first one, Hammurabi of Babylon, he made his Hittite code. Then you have Moses, the Torah, that was his constitution. And then you have Draco. And look at Aristotle. He did a very good work to show you the different types of constitutions. A constitution is a system. It's as simple as that. Do you know this is a constitution? My constitution. This is my constitution. My system. Yes. A constitution. Everything is a constitution. Everything is a system. Everything is a unit. Yes, that's now philosophy. So Aristotle showed the constitutions for the good of all. And for him, it is royalty. There is royalty, there is aristocracy, and there's constitutional government. Now he said these constitutions can be perverted, and the royalty becomes a tyranny. So this is where the king becomes a tyrant, and he's not helping the population. Now, let me warn people. You cannot do referendum for gay rights. It's impossible. It is an anomaly, because gays are human beings. It's just that their lifestyle is not liked by very many people. So just because people don't like someone's lifestyle does not mean that person should not be allowed to exist. Yes. Someone who doesn't like wearing miniskirts will never vote that miniskirts should be the order of the day. It's as simple as that. You waste money to have a referendum on miniskirts when you don't wear them and you don't like wearing them. So that's the same to people who want to have referendums for gay people. It's madness. In the country, 90% are not gay. What are you doing referendum for? We have already known the winner. You see? So gay rights are human rights. So what you do, remove all the laws that oppress gay people. As simple as that. Now, aristocracy, when it becomes very bad, it becomes an oligarchy. Now, aristocracy is the rich men, the rich women. They're in power and they have the means. And then, now when they become very bad, they become an oligarchy. Now, as I told you, I don't want to use those terms bad, good. What I mean is when they don't do, when they don't have efficient service, service to the people. I prefer that. Good and bad is too basic. I'm tired of that. Because, you see, right now, do you know why there are no revolutions in the world? Because the society is divided. Yes, it's diverse. You go to your neighbor, he is so happy with life. The other one is crying, wants to leave the world. So, imagine uniting. You can't unite people these days. It's because everyone has his own life. Everyone is okay. Gone are the days when everybody was in one class, poor, rich. It's gone. We are no longer in a bifurcated society. We are in a rainbow world. Yes, there are levels of wealth, levels of income, levels of standards of living, levels of intellectual capacity, levels of everything. It's a rainbow world. So actually the world is now more peaceful, and it will not see revolutions for a very long time because we are diverse. So even if the government is very corrupt or it's very confused, as long as there's a diverse makeup of the people and a significant size of the population is not really suffering, these people, there will be no revolution. So what you do in such a situation, you either form a political party to challenge the rule of that authority, or you can go to court. There are very many ways of addressing poor governance or inefficient governance rather than going to the street. Yeah, these street protests have gone. They are not effective because the government will come and shoot you. People, then those who love the government will say, look at these guys, they're destroying our businesses. So you lose it. So what do? You have to go, if you really are aggrieved by how the government is ruling and you have evidence, because the courtroom is a place of evidence. It's not a place of rumors. Yes, you have to go and produce evidence that this is happening, and that's what you do. So the oligarchy is when the wealthy are not efficient in ruling, and this happens when there are so many poor people. Life becomes so bad and so sad and so everything, and people hate the rulership. That's where it becomes an oligarchy. Then a constitutional government is a very nice one, but if it's perverted, it becomes a democracy. Now democracy is ruled by the people. Yes. So this is very sad. This is from Aristotle. Imagine Aristotle calls a democracy perverted. Oh, Aristotle, I think he was a very moralistic man, because he's saying the democracy is not a good system. It is a perverted constitution. The best constitution is a constitutional government. And this is what I support. There I can agree with Aristotle. You see, democracy, this is where it's ruled by the majority. So gays are a minority. Now, if they live in a perverted constitution, that's in a democracy, the democratic people who think of in democracy, they'll say, oh, they are gays. No, don't allow them. Let's have a referendum. You're the majority. You're going to win. What are you doing? So that's what happens in democracy. But in a constitutional government, the government looks at the constitution. It does not look at what the people are saying. It is led by the constitution. So when it's a constitutional government, and this is the crux of my video, in a constitutional government, the government will hire you irrespective of your sexual orientation, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your economic status. And the court will protect you irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your sexual orientation. That's a constitutional government. Now, if that's what Aristotle means, that's what I support. But I like what he has said. Perverted constitutions is a democracy. Yes, I agree with that. Because a democracy is a rule by the majority. And that's what I told homophobes. That who told you live in a country whereby you will be the majority? One day, gays will be the majority. And they can become perverted constitution, and then make laws against straight people. What will you do? You won't argue. You'll feel bad. Yes, you will really be oppressed. So that's what gays go through in countries that are oppressing them, because they are a minority, not because they are gays, just because they are gays and I don't like gay sex. No, it's because they are a minority. So it's very easy to oppress them. Go and look at the marginalized communities in the world. Majority of them are minorities. They are few. They can't even shout. You see, in a democracy, the majority community, the bigger you are, the better. You have a voice. When you're small in a democracy, you don't have a voice. But in a constitutional government, everybody has a voice, whether you are a minority or a majority. So, guys, let's come here. Constitutional government. Forget the perversion. Okay, so now that's what Aristotle wrote, and then he arranged the theoretical system of Plato's Republic and Plato's Laws and Philus of Chalcedon and Hippodamus of Miletus, and the reality, and government of few, government of many. Beautiful. There I respect Aristotle. Okay. So let's conclude now, and we've done. So what have we said? We have said constitutional government is the way to go. Now, what does this mean? All judges, government is judiciary, includes the judiciary. So all the judges should live by the constitutional principles of human rights. So anybody who comes to you as a judge, that person has come for you to recognize their human rights, their constitutional rights, give it to them clearly. That's why the LGBTQ cases fighting the bad laws against gay people will win. They all over the world, as long as that country has a constitution. Because all constitutions recognize all human beings in the country. That includes gay people. So all you do is just go to the court. Yes, even sex workers. Yes. I was seeing the map of countries that don't allow prostitution. So many. And that's sad, because you're denying someone their income. Yeah, they want to generate income through sex. It's okay. Sex is not bad. You're denying them. So what does that mean? It's unconstitutional, because you have denied someone the right to make an income. Sex is not bad. Have you killed anybody when you have sex? No. No way. Yes. You don't kill anybody in sex. That's what I tell people. Nobody died when you had sex. So, what does that mean? Decriminalize prostitution. You don't decriminalize murder. Because when you murder somebody, that person didn't want to die. So how are you decriminalizing murder? You do assisted suicide. You legalize assisted suicide. Because that one, someone has said, I want to die. But you can take my life this way, in an orderly way I go. Yes, that's what happens in Switzerland. One of the European countries, they have allowed assisted suicide. That's okay, because you have agreed to die. You are not killed because you didn't want to die. You've been killed because you wanted to die. That one is okay. But the murder, no, you don't decriminalize murder. And that's what I've said. Prostitution is not murder, as some people want to say. Yeah, decriminalize. Homosexuality is not murder. It is life. Yes, it is sex. It's an alternative sexual lifestyle. So, as I've said, judges follow the Constitution and keep the human rights number one in your head. So that now, whenever somebody comes, even women, yes, women can go to court and say, excuse me, someone has refused, they don't want me to run for office because I'm a woman. Yes, you can go and sue. That's what you need to understand. The Constitution is your savior. It's your savior because it recognizes all human beings equally, rich or poor, gay or straight, man or woman, black or white. It recognizes you as long as you are, even if you're not a citizen, if you are a resident in the country, the Constitution protects you. Yes, like what's happening. Refugees being arrested in Kenya. LGBTQ refugees. No, that's wrong. They are residents in the country. They buy food in the country. They buy everything. They spend money there. They are using legal tender of that country. So they should be protected when they are being violated. Yes. That's what I tell people. Everybody. Whether you're a tourist, when you're a resident, even if you're a tourist for 1 week, you're a resident in that country. Do you know robbers don't care whether you're from, I've just come from Europe. Oh my, they don't care. They don't have time. They steal from you. Now what do? You will report to the police. And it's the police job to investigate. Why are they investigating? You are a human being protected by the Constitution. Alright. Now we've done away with judges. Next person, arm of power, the legislators. They should also be following the Constitution. That's the first document in their heart and in their mind. So what does that mean? All legislators should recognize all human beings, including gays. Yes. It doesn't mean you're gay. Some legislators, they fear. If I say that, they'll say I'm gay. No. It's they are human beings. That's why. Some of them are constituents of a legislator. So how can you attack a gay person and that person is your voter? Because when they become very big, they can vote against you and you lose your seat based on what you said about them. Look what happened to Mugabe. He always abused gays. How did he leave power? He doesn't know there were gays who were Zimbabwe. They were even very happy he went. You see? Just think about that. You abuse. You see, that's why if you're a politician, don't abuse everybody. Anybody. Because that person will vote and he will not vote for you. And one day he can be very influential in getting votes, and he votes for your enemy. And you'll wonder, how did I lose? Then you'll remember you said something. Yes, that's why sharp politicians don't give opinions about persons. Keep quiet. Be friends with everybody. You will win. Yes. That's my advice, especially when it comes to human rights and gay rights. Let gays be. There are gay Muslims, there are gay Christians, there are gay atheists. Leave them. Yes, give them their space. Let them live their life. Because if you don't, they will come together in the gay cause and they remove you. They won't support you. That's what you need to understand. But if you allow gays to have their rights, oh my, they will now remember, they will forget about their gay rights cause and they will think about another cause. Do you see what happened to America? That's what happened. The moment Obama allowed gay rights and now they could marry, of course not Obama, it was the Supreme Court. What happened? When 2016 came, there were gays who were supporting Trump. Yes. Caitlyn Jenner, transgender, supporting Trump. Why? Because their issue was already dealt with. It was finished. The court had given gays rights, and so now the issue is not about whom I marry. Now my issue is how I make money. So that's what happens. But if Obama didn't deal with that issue, the gay lobby would have become very powerful and it would have changed the politics of America. And today, even Trump may not have been president because of the gay lobby. But once the law was passed, the gay lobby kept quiet a bit. They said, now, yeah, we've won. So there's some gay activists who, they finished work. They got married to their partners and they're not even bothered about anything. Yes, it's because they got what they wanted. Others are still fighting because they haven't got what they wanted. So politicians, especially when it comes to your constituents, also keep the Constitution and give people your human rights. They are human rights. Let them be, especially legislators. Don't make laws that oppress other human beings. That is wrong. And you'll be defeated in the courtroom. Now, that's the legislator. Then we finish with the executive. The executive also swears by the constitution. So, all the citizens are human beings, including foreigners. They are residents in your country. And so what does that mean? It means that you should also keep the constitution and not attack gays, women, anybody different. Yes, ad hominem attacks should not come from government. I've told you who government is. Government is the legislature, is the executive, and is the judiciary. All those bodies should stay in the constitution. And by staying in the constitution, it means they recognize all human beings in their country. All. Irrespective of religion, sexual orientation, and economic status. When you do that, Aristotle says you don't have a perverted constitution, and your country will go, it will do wonders. The Human Development Index will be high because you recognize everybody, you value everybody. It's as simple as that. A country that, a government whereby it is very unjust and oppressive, look at the people it's oppressing. And Christian homophobes should never say they're being oppressed by gay people. It's impossible. Do they come and have sex in your house where you are sleeping? They say we are coming to have sex with you. They don't. So that is what you need to understand. Gay people do not oppress anybody because we do our stuff separate. Alright, so that's all I can say. It was just something, it was a eureka moment I got, that when you're in a position of power, you should be constitutional. And when you have judges, if you find a judge who cannot keep constitution, he's a racist, he's a homophobic, he's transphobic, he's a classist. They see a poor person and they want to. Of course, what I mean, please get me, we are not perfect. We are not perfect as human beings. But if you have a pattern, a behavioral pattern that makes you make a decision, you see, judges can make off-cuff comments. That's okay. It's human nature. We are not perfect. And that's where I didn't agree with Aristotle, because Aristotle is a bit too moralistic. Human nature is naturally flawed. Yes, we will make mistakes. So I'm not saying that when you hear a judge say something or a politician, now you jump up and then you say he must be killed or removed. No. I'm just saying that especially when it comes to judgment writing and making of laws and signing of decisions. You see, the judiciary makes judgment, writes a judgment, the legislator writes laws, and the executive signs documents, either laws or treaties. So now, if in their signing and in their writing they make an error, that's where you can remove them. But you don't remove them if they make off-cuff comments, like when they're in private. That's up to you. That one you can say whatever you want. But when you're in, like, legislating and you're making laws, and you make a law that is against human rights, then there you're making a big mistake. as a arm of government. If you're a judge and then you write a judgment that is so unconstitutional, it's against human beings. Can you imagine writing a judgment and saying Muslims are bad, they're always bombing people? Can you imagine what a judgment that would be? You would just declare the judge unfit. Yes. So that's why I did the video. It is to give people understand the fact that it is wise for a country to appoint government officials that stick to the constitution. And to stick to the constitution means to respect everybody irrespective of who they are. When you respect somebody, it's not that you agree with them. Yes. It's just that you value their humanity. You know they are human beings, and you know they do things differently from you. So you won't allow that difference to cloud your judgment. Yeah, and that's what we had to say for today.